Welcome to the channel. I'm Tony the Technician, and today we're going to be going into 5 tools that I wish I would have purchased sooner. These are either going to be tools that I've had for a while, and some of them I've only had a few months. But they are tools that maybe I put off for quite some time, or a tool I didn't think I needed, but eventually purchased. And I'm really glad that I did, because these tools are all extremely handy, and I found more uses for them than I ever thought I would originally have. So these are my first five items. There's probably plenty more, but I'll share my first 5 with you guys. And then if you guys have tools like this or items like this that you kind of put off purchasing but decided to and turned out to be a great purchase, please let me know down in the comments. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to smash that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below of your guys' thoughts on my 5 items. And as always, if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And I will also try and have these 5 items linked down in the description for you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look. If you guys want to see a part 2 to this video, please feel free to drop a comment down below, and I'll see if I can put together a part 2 list of tools. But first up on today's list is a pair of Knipex that I put off buying for a really long time. I own probably 15 pairs of Knipex and absolutely love their products. If you don't know Knipex, they make pliers made in Germany. They do some great engineering and make some fantastic pliers. Now, this was probably my 6th or 7th pair from Knipex, and I just put this off for a long time because I didn't really think I would get a whole lot of use out of them. And at the time of purchasing these, I think this was, maybe 2017, around there somewhere, there were maybe 2 other companies that had miniature bolt cutters, and one design was real bulky and cheap. And so I decided to go with Knipex because I got a really good deal at the time, because these aren't necessarily cheap, but I don't think, now that I've used them, I think the price is well worth it. But now there are tons of no-name brand or brands that you've never heard of selling them on Amazon and stuff. And then there are a couple companies like Capri and a couple others that sell some that are very similar, that are probably a little bit better quality than the no-name brand ones. If you don't think you'll get a whole lot of use out of these, but you want to try a miniature pair of bolt cutters, I think going with, one of the cheaper ones might not be a bad idea, but maybe not choose the cheapest one, because I don't know the durability on the jaws. But these have completely shocked me with how they perform and how much I've actually used them over the years. I didn't think I would use them nearly as much as I do. Anything that I find that I think diagonal side cutters might struggle with, these make really easy work of. I like how much the jaw opens up and just how easy it is to cut certain things. Small chain link, wires, solid wire, things like that. It does a fantastic job. And I've probably used these on things that maybe you shouldn't, but the jaws have held up absolutely amazing. No issues with them whatsoever. You can also get them, I believe, with comfort grip. Just overall, I got a lot more use out of these than I ever expected, and they're fantastic. They're a fantastic set of pliers, and I'm really glad that I decided to pick them up. Next up is actually another pair from Knipex, and this one I put off for a really long time because I didn't really think I would get, just like the other pair, much use out of. I thought it was more of a gimmicky thing, and I picked these up way before Icon came out with theirs, and a lot of the other knockoffs came out. But now they're, once again, just like the miniature bolt cutters, there are tons of others out there with a similar design that still have the same idea behind them. But once again, I own a lot of Knipex and really enjoy their product, and I'd happily support them with a good quality pair of pliers. Now, obviously, this one I picked up on the tool truck from Matco, but it is a pair of Knipex, and this is their pliers wrench. You can get this in multiple different sizes. You can also get them in the black coating as well. The prices are going to vary depending on the size and the coating that you have on it. In the automotive field, where I find this to be extremely handy, is suspension work, especially when you're working on modified vehicles like my Camaro, for example. Every single suspension component is adjustable, and they have the large jam nuts, and it's a lot easier, especially if you're working in your own shop or garage. Maybe you don't have a lift, you're refined to the space underneath the vehicle, how high you can lift the vehicle. Having a large wrench down there for those large jam nuts can kind of be a pain sometimes, and you may honestly not have a wrench that big if you're a weekend warrior DIYer. And
using an adjustable sometimes can be really irritating. This I love because of all the different adjustable positions, and then once you get set, find that perfect tooth location, you can easily grab onto that jam nut or whatever you're working with and release. It's so much faster than an adjustable wrench, and just a little bit of pressure, you get a nice strong hold. So this I use primarily on suspension work. If you guys own these, please let me know what you guys find yourself using them for, but I couldn't be happier with these. They have held up really well, they work extremely well, and I'm extremely happy with them. So that is number 2. Next up is another pair of pliers, but this one is from a company in Japan. This is the Fujiya, and if you guys have watched my previous videos on the channel, you guys might have heard me mention a lot of these that we're talking about today in the past. So these are the Fujiya 90CS-125s, made in Japan. You can see the extremely high quality finish, and these, I think I have 4 or 5 different pairs of flush cuts. These are not miniature diagonal side cutters or anything. These are actual flush cuts, so when you're working with zip ties or anything like that, these will save your forearms and hands from getting cut up. The thing that I love about these, not only does Fujiya make extremely high quality tools, all the tools that I own from Japan have been fantastic, but Fujiya makes some really good stuff. They do have some stuff that's not made in Japan, which is decent, but I stick to their Japan made stuff. It's really good stuff. But not only do these cut like butter, but I love the catcher feature. There are maybe a couple other brands out there that have something similar to this, but this actually uses 2 metal tabs that's screwed into the pivoting point. This is called a catcher, so I'll actually just go ahead and cut the zip tie I use, because these are spring loaded. You can remove the spring if you want, but in the toolbox I usually just toss them in there like that to keep them closed. And never mind, I have a zip tie right next to me, so I'm not going to cut that one. So basically, when you're working in an engine bay or whatnot, and you don't want to lose all your tabs, maybe you just want to keep your work clean, or if you're working and these things the tails might fly off and land down in a crevice in the engine bay up against the exhaust or up against a hot component, and then it ends up melting. If you don't want to deal with all of that, or maybe you're working on the interior of your car, you don't want a bunch of little tails flinging around everywhere. Well, when you attach this to something and then you go cut your zip tie, that little catcher, focus, holds on. As long as you don't release pressure, the little tabs hold on to the zip tie for you. Fujiya flush cuts, absolutely amazing. These are my go-tos when it comes to flush cuts. Next up, we'll get away from the pliers and move into a couple of tools. The next one we'll go into is one that I've had probably since 2017 as well. Get out of the way. And that is my Wen Dremel, which ranges from basically, I don't know, $16 to $30 depending. But I bought this a long time ago, and I've used this I don't know how many times, a few hundred times at least. You can get this without the extended flex shaft. The primary thing was the actual tool itself. I've owned a couple of Dremels in the past and had horrible experiences with them. And I don't know, I've probably had this since 16 or 17. So I've had this for a really long time, used it a couple hundred times at least, and haven't had any issues. So at this point, I will gladly, if this thing burns up right now, I would gladly just buy this exact same thing over buying a Dremel or trying another Dremel or anything like that. The model number on this is 2305, because now that it's been quite a few years, I'm not sure. They do offer a couple different options now, so I'm not exactly sure if this specific one's still available, but if this one does burn up, I'm going to be doing some research trying to find this one, just because I'm extremely happy with it. Now, it does come with a bunch of little bits and attachments and things like that. But one thing I will recommend is, even though I went the cheap route on this compared to going with like a Dremel for a rotary tool, this has saved me a lot of headache over owning another Dremel. But I will say, when it comes to the accessories and bits and things like that, I do go with Dremel stuff. I have no problem using Dremel brand accessories because they just hold up so much better. I've ordered a couple different blade kits and accessory kits that were, you know, a massive box made in China that just comes with anything you could think of. The cutting discs instantly break apart and are destroyed, and the other stuff just doesn't last long. So when it comes to the stuff I use on this tool, I will go with Dremel. I'm happy to do that. Next, we're looking at a DeWalt product, and this is, I have a full review on this that I made, you know, shortly after I had purchased it, but this is their 3-inch cutoff tool. I run the DeWalt 20 volt lineup, and then I also run the Milwaukee M12 lineup, and so this hadn't actually been released yet, and I was about to pick up the Milwaukee M12 3-inch cutoff tool, and then I found out DeWalt was releasing this, so I decided I would just wait till I saw the price. And while it was a little bit more expensive than the M12, after seeing a couple videos, I decided to go with this one, and I couldn't be happier. I've used the M12 one before at a couple shops, and while I had no issues with this, I can definitely say that the DeWalt just has more power to it, and I like the overall design. It's very comfortable in the hand. I like the angle that it sits at. I would say it's a little bit bigger than the M12 one, but I like the guard that comes with it. You got your little vacuum attachment here. I don't use that, but I will use the shield every once in a while depending on what I'm using it for. I've gotten a lot of use out of this as well. I don't have to lug around an air hose for a little die grinder or anything like that, or a cutoff tool. And so this has come in handy quite a bit. I even cut my exhaust with it, did a beautiful job on that. And so I've gotten a lot of use out of this, and I'm just really glad that I went with this over the M12. I'm sure I would have been happy with the M12, but I just love how versatile and how small this is compared to some other options, and just how easy it is to work with. The last item, which is actually an item that I just recently picked up maybe 4 months ago, and this is already something that I knew I was going to get a lot of use out of, because I had used my father's for years, and I had borrowed a couple people's, and why I didn't pick one up sooner, I don't know. I should have owned one of these years ago. So handy for so many different things. It's ridiculous. I don't know why I didn't pick one up sooner. I was doing a prototype bumper install on the 23 Colorado, and you had to remove some of the plastic fascia on the front of the bumper, and where it was located, it was kind of recessed in the bumper, so I couldn't even get the 3-inch cutoff tool in there, especially the angle that it sat at. And the rotary tool, the Win rotary tool that we looked at just a little bit ago, it didn't have the depth I needed to get in there because the blades are a little smaller. And so that gave me the perfect opportunity, because I've used this for building pantries, doing trim boards, automotive related. I mean, I've used this, I don't know how many times just in the 4 months that I've owned it, and it's done a fantastic job, but I already knew it would. But that situation alone gave me the opportunity to finally tell myself to go and buy one. And when I went to pick it up, now you can get this for lower 100, maybe 129, somewhere around in there. Maybe around holidays and stuff, you may find it for $99. Now this is the DCS 356. They do have a couple different variations. This is the XR brushless, so it is one of the nicer ones, and I like the quick change for the blade. But I picked this up at $179, so a little bit more than what you can get it for, but it came with the 2 free power stack batteries, and the power stack batteries are another thing that I really wanted to try out. But I already own 6 or 7 batteries. I didn't really have an excuse to pick up more batteries. Well, when I found this and it said you get 2 free power stack batteries, well, technically I probably paid $50 more for this tool than what you can get it on sale for. But the batteries alone, I think, are, you know, between $100 and $200. I think they're $150 or $160, something like that, for the 2 of them. And so I thought it was the perfect time and perfect excuse to pick up both of them, and I'm really happy with the power stack batteries. You can get all different kinds of blades, make this very versatile for many different situations, and overall this is just a great cutting tool. I'm pretty well rounded in being able to access certain things to be able to cut and modify. And so just a lot of really good tools that I've gotten a lot of use out of. So let me know your guys' thoughts on these 6 items. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to drop a comment down below of your guys' thoughts. If you guys own any of these, or if you're thinking about picking them up, I will also try and have some of these linked down in the description for you guys if you guys are interested. And if you guys would like to see a part 2, make sure to let me know down in the comments. Make sure to smash that thumbs up. And if you guys haven't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.